Greetings, Ben Murray here. Welcome to another edition of SaaS Metrics School. So today, talking about the Rule of 40 and how I use the Rule of 40 when you're less than 10 million in ARR. And there's a lot of debate, Rule of 40, ubiquitous SaaS metric, and debate around when this metric is applicable. I've seen with the big investment firms, they're measuring it above 50 million or maybe 25 million. And when is the right time to measure this? So, of course, first, let's start with what is the rule of 40. So, it's the trade off between profit and growth, which is really important in any business, not just SaaS businesses. So, we're looking at our revenue growth. Plus, in private SaaS companies, typically we're using a profit proxy using EBITDA margins. In public software companies, they're using free cash flow. But in private SaaS, revenue growth plus our EBITDA margin. So that's the rule of 40, and it's the trade-off between growth and profit. So again, if you have high growth and the rule of 40 is above 40, it's okay to have low EBITDA or negative EBITDA. But if you're low growth, we better have high EBITDA margins. So one thing that's really important with a lot of SaaS metrics, and when I look at SaaS financials and how I review those and assess those, I have to understand the funding environment and the objectives of the business. And that colors my lens, or it better colors my perspective on how I should gauge this business and how it's performing. So if you're bootstrapped, this could be really applicable. We have different goals. If you're funded and you're going after that high growth, so one, we have to have that context around that funding environment and how it colors our perspective of these metrics. So when to use this metric? Well, I am always calculating this, whether you're a couple million ARR and above, it's in my 5 pillar SaaS metrics framework. So it's there and I'm calculating, of course, right metrics at the right stage. So when I'm using this less than 10 million, if this is highly negative, if the rule of 40 is highly negative, it's a red flag for me because that generally means either we have low or no growth and we're negative EBITDA. So something's got to give here. Obviously, that's not sustainable. But remember, I'm not optimizing for the rule of 40. We're measuring it. And if it's highly negative, that's a red flag for me. But again, we're not optimizing for the rule of 40, where if you're above 10, 20 million ARR, a lot of times you are optimizing for that rule of 40 to try to push that up. In this case, it's more of a metric that's good context relative to our other metrics. So if it's highly negative, we've got to take a look at this business and see what's going on. If we're around, you could say rule of 40 break even around zero or single digits, it's okay. It's like, okay. And then also the volatility of this metric. If it's bouncing up and down, how much value can I put in this metric? So generally, I'm calculating it for businesses less than 10 million ARR. We're not maybe optimizing for it unless we're in, I'd say, an environment where we have to get to a path to profitability. Then it does become very relevant. Whether you're funded, bootstrapped, and we're burning cash, but we've got to get to profitability, then yes, we are going to look at this metric. So a little bit about how I use the rule of 40 in companies less than 10 million ARR. Thanks.